And we are live. What is up, everyone? Coming at you with another stream today. Lots going on, lots building up. The world's going crazy and on fire. And before we start, we should actually start with this clip, which I found significant. It's Roger Stone posted initially from Ben Swan, but the person saying it is the great RFK Jr., who is running for president and is in some polls actually beating Joe Biden, actually, if you can believe that. Now, do I think he's actually going to get the nomination? They aren't going to allow it, so it's probably not. But he's just going to give up like Bernie? Hell no. I think he continues his run and he can split the Democrat vote, which would help Trump, or Trump, which I think is unlikely but still possible, makes him VP and they have a national unity ticket, which would be this, I believe, the second time in American history that the presidential candidate, vice presidential candidate were from different parties. Probably not the second time. It would be for second time it was a Republican with a Democrat vice president. A Republican president with Democrat vice president. But let's get on with this.
If I talked about what I was thinking about, I would have been deplatformed. But once Elon took over, I started, they unshackled me. And but also I think this year is going to be the political campaign that will be decided on by podcasts, and particularly because the candidates are not wanting to debate. So I not only is Biden not debating, but I think Trump may not debate. So I think people like me are going to end up we're going to really test whether these podcasts. And, I was talking about Tucker having 4.5 million nightly views. Well, the podcast that Joe Rogan did with Peter McCulloch got 40 million views. So that,
right. Yeah. Well, Rogan's a force of nature.
Yeah. So Tucker is 10 times what CNN is, gets, and Rogan's audience is potentially 10 times what Tucker was getting. So I think the podcasts have the capacity this election for reaching people and allowing, sort of dissident and insurgent candidates like myself to end run the corporate media monolith and to reach large numbers of Americans without going onto the networks. So I'm hoping that works. Now,
he is right. I don't think Trump's going to need to, because I think all of the candidates, you saw Chris Christie and Mike Pence now. Come on, Peel. You really think that Chris Christie, that fatso, or Mike Pence, who is so generic and bland, and Gordon Ramsay's not even going to touch him? You think that either of those two have a chance? Come on, give me a break. It's going to be Donald Trump who's the nominee. There probably will be at least one debate, I think. And Trump's probably going to sweep the floor so badly that none of the candidates can recover, and they just start dropping out one by one until there's none left and only Trump is. Or they could do something where they try and keep like a DeSantis or a Pence in for as long as possible, try and prop them up, but it would probably not help either. DeSantis is losing his support, and I know we're supposed to get to the climate stuff, but this is important first. And I wanted to get to this later nearing the end of the show, but saying that I'm in the let's actually get to this from Tim Pool. So this is saying DeSantis were, if you haven't heard, so Christina Pushaw and the DeSantis Worm posted AI generate images of Trump and Fauci. Here they are. Here they are. Some of these are AI images, and they use actual audio of Trump saying he couldn't fire Fauci. Well, you can. The president can't fire the, what was he? I forgot what his position was, like direct, or I feel so stupid. I should know this. And you have John Cardill, one of the most deranged people on the platform. He actually makes some leftists look like Filipkowski look actually sane. He makes several leftists. Some of the time, I think he's more deranged than Keith freaking Olbermann. I'll give Keith Olbermann that. Keith, you look sane compared to this guy, that John Cardillo, who says Trump has been doing this for a while. You have to fight fire with fire. To my knowledge, and to the knowledge of the great Alex Dershowitz, this is a lie. Team Trump has not done that. This is from the official DeSantis campaign. Yes, it's from DeSantis War Room. And let's actually.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
Wonderful guy. Should you have fired?
So a lot of people ask me that question, and I did it right. Because if you do fire him, you're going to have a firestorm.
Yeah, and at that time, Fauci was really popular. It would have been, Trump would have probably actually lost the election, just had it stolen. He probably would have actually lost because Fauci was pretty popular. Even among some conservatives, which is crazy to think.
On the left again.
Why did you feel unable to fire Fauci?
Personally, you're not allowed to.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to fire the director of national health. It's not I'll look up right now. So. So this is actually from The Hill. So that's the reason, if you're wondering why Trump never fired Fauci, it's because, all right, let's see. The president could not, federal law does not allow the president to fire. So that answers your question. The reason why Trump couldn't fire is because A, it would have killed his campaign. He probably would have had, if he wanted to try and get Fauci out of there, he couldn't fire him. He would have to, first off, wait until after the election, assuming this is a timeline where he actually beats the fraud, and B, he'd have to look into how you actually do that process. And it's not just as simple as firing. And Trump really, I think he obeyed the laws really too much, and he didn't know about during his presidency, because there are measures that Trump could have taken during his presidency that could have helped weaken the deep state, but I guess because he unfortunately took advice from McConnell and surrounded himself with a lot of terrible people, Pence being one of them, Barr, all these people. He And he unfortunately got rid of the MAGA appeal like Stone, Bannon, Flynn, and he also hired Christopher Wray, who DeSantis has also praised. So before you say, oh, Trump never fired Christopher Wray, and he also never did that because it would have looked weak if he had. I remember he was playing on if he had actually gone past the fraud in the election. I keep wanting to say if he won, he did win the election. He just had stolen from him. If he had gone past the fraud, probably assuming that he had gone past the fraud on November 4th, early hours of November 4th, and then people are starting to wake up. They see Trump run again, and Trump probably would have started to reorganize his cabinet. I could definitely see. I thought that Trump should have brought in Giuliani for FBI director. That's probably going to be a controversial take, I know, and probably Giuliani doesn't want to. He's up there, he's old, and perhaps maybe it's time for the FBI to go. It's technically unconstitutional. It was created by an executive order. It's out of its jurisdiction in terms of time. It should not be here. I know I kind of sound like an idiot because I don't know the exact terms, but I just know that the FBI is kind of illegitimate. So is the CIA. So are all these three-letter agencies. A lot of them need to be in a second Trump term, needs to be eradicated because they frankly are not following the constitutional principle. And I'm going to get on to a little more of this. It's actually, and I'll save the climate stuff for later on, but I will tie in. It's either go after Trump, they want to indict him. And maybe Laura Loomer has a better. Oh, here's actually something. So you want to see something? And this is from Chris Christie, who his only redeeming quality at one point was that he was behind Trump and looked like he wanted to right the wrongs of what he did. He was actually my state's governor, and I can tell you, popular in the first term, hated in the second, and because of Bridgegate. I mean, Chris and brother both are also guilty of committing serious corrupt crimes and should, by all accounts, be put in prison. I mean, might be good for Chris Christie. He could be on a diet and lose some of that weight.
Well, look, I don't know, Brian, exactly what they're going to find and what's going to come in any indictment that may come. But I will say this. The problem with all this is that it's self-inflicted. In the end, I don't know that the government even knew that Joe Biden had those documents or not. Right. But they did.
They did, which shows you how incompetent they are.
No, Donald Trump did.
Those documents Trump was allowed to have. They knew it because as Trump was allowed to take those documents when he left.
And in fact, asked for them voluntarily for over a year and a quarter,
Right.
And got them back in dribs and drabs. And at least if you believe the accounts that you're reading right now,
So if they got them back, then why would they need to ram it? Is that what he's saying?
and I take them with a grain of salt because I did this work for 7 years, and I know you can't believe anything until an indictment comes out. If in fact you're keeping those things knowingly, even after the government has asked for you to bring them back, the excuses about, oh, they were classified, declassified automatically when I left the office, well, that's just wrong. I mean, I know that as a legal matter. And the problem with this is, let's go to pull it back for a second. It's a bigger problem whether he's indicted or not, because these are all self-inflicted wounds. Return the documents.
He doesn't need to because he was allowed to take those documents. They're just trying to create the conditions for an indictment, Chris Christie. Get that through your humongously thick skull.
Stop doing
and your massive stomach.
Doing this. Why do you have to be the center of negative attention all the time? Why do you have to be angry?
Well, you know why he's angry, because he sees this country is going down and he loves it so much. And you know what? You would not have done anything, Chris Christie. You're nothing but a shill of the deep state, a rhino. You're nothing.
All the time. And that's what Donald Trump has done. So I'll wait to see him make a judgment on the indictment if and when one comes. But certainly, as you know, on the Alvin Bragg stuff, I said at the time, that's a ridiculous indictment and one that I would have never brought as a prosecutor. But it doesn't mean that the next one and the next one are not going to be problematic. And by the way, that's weight that Donald Trump will have to carry.
Ironic that Chris Christie brings up weight, given how much weight you carry on you already.
If he's the nominee into a general election in November. And why do we want to take that risk?
Because at least Trump's not going to have a heart attack on the stage like you. I'm not saying I hope to God he doesn't. I don't wish any harm upon him. I wish Chris Christie a safe, long, and healthy life. Just making that clear. I don't wish any harm upon him. I hope nothing bad happens. Oh, and Laura Loomer. She was on Chrissy Mayer's show last night. That was really good. I'd like to have Laura Loomer on actually my show at some point. I might reach out to her because she does seem like a really relatable person. If any you know me personally, you'd probably know why, especially if you also know a bit about Laura Loomer. But I'm not too. Then we have this other clip.
Conservatives and people in general are hungry for leaders who will fight for them. We saw it with President Trump. We see it now with Governor DeSantis.
God. She looks like Brie Larson if Brie Larson was cast for the Joker. God. Oh, God, she looks
in this great
ugly. State. I didn't think they were going to cast Brie Larson. They were going to cast Brie Larson as the Joker.
How he stands up for our rights, to the point people are talking about him running for president in 2024. No, I mean, I think he needs to stay here in our state, and he's totally focused on our state. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he would be a great president, but I'm selfish. I care about this state. I think he's also very much focused on the people of Florida. All of this speculation. And
she looks creepy, but she makes sense here. Am I watching the same person? don't know.
talk about like national ambitions. It's speculation. It's not anything that he has ever said. He always shuts it down, actually, from what I've seen. He's like, this is third biggest state. It's growing every day. There's so much going on here that takes up his time and that he's completely dedicated to. So, you know, if you hear this kind of stuff, no, the Democrats are putting out this narrative like he's just using Florida to run for president. It's not true. So
It was
you
true.
can shut that
Turns
down.
out.
And that concern.
Turns out Nikki Fried was right. Hate to say it. She was right. And now you see all these candidates and you see these indictments. There's going to be a lot more. They're not going to stop Trump. He who is committed, his base is committed behind him. And you're going to see something similar happen. Remember when Kasich and Cruz decided they were going to share their electorates? I was at that stage where I was brainwashed into believing the propaganda that would somehow help. And I was firmly anti-Trump. That I was this 13-year-old never Trumper, and by the end of the year, I was pro-Trump. That was 2016. Like in March, I was all anti-Trump, and over the course of the next few months, and by December, I was completely different person on the Trump issue. I just am getting flashback to 2016 where I was being taken home. I was with a friend. My mom was going to take both of us home, and my mom and my friend are like, yeah, Trump's probably not going to win. I was like, we'll see. And won't you know? Oh, I look like an intellectual coming in the day after the election. And I see we got someone in viewership. We are talking about the indictment. They are going after Trump. Crazy. We just played a clip of Christina Pushaw, and let's actually see if we can find another clip, other thing. So we've got stuff about Tim Pool. Well, we actually cover a little bit of this Laura Loomer stuff. We're going to get into the climate stuff at the end of the stream because I think that's pretty important. The climate stuff. If I could get it up. Gateway Pundit. All right, so you're a liar and a fraud. You're one of the ones who should be in jail, Comey. James Comey confronted again at book signing 2 days after Laura Loomer confronted. So on Monday night, independent journalist and former congressional candidate Laura Loomer confronted disgraced former FBI Director James Comey at his book signing event in Chicago. This confrontation left Comey leaving the stage and Loomer being briefly detained by law enforcement. Loomer confronted Comey, who was fired as FBI chief, after it was proven in the Durham report that the FBI illegally ran an attempted coup against candidate and President Donald Trump based on evidence they knew was false and that came from the Hillary campaign. Last night, so this is on Twitter. Last night, I confronted criminal former FBI Director James Comey about the Durham report findings at Comey's book signing / book tour for his new crime novel. Loomer tweeted with the video, I asked Comey why a criminal like himself is now writing crime novels and he plans on writing a crime book about himself. Loomer interrupted the event by saying, I think we all know, James Comey, that you're a great storyteller because you made up the whole case about Crossfire Hurricane. Comey did not know how to react due to years of being coddled by legacy media elites and fled from the stage. This was not an isolated event. On Wednesday, just 2 days later, reporters from Liberty Broadcast confronted James Comey at his Austin, Texas Look, man, Comey did not know what to do. The criminal FBI director sat there smiling, and this was so good. Apparently, Owen
My name
Schroyer
is Rachel. I'm a local here in Austin, and I just have a few
was
questions.
also there.
Firstly, is the fact that you're a criminal, did that make it easy for you to write a criminal novel like this one? And then also, will you be writing any new novels about your own criminal doings?
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Is that a no? I'm sorry, I didn't.
The question.
Sorry,
Thank
I
you,
know,
appreciate
but I
it.
mean,
No,
could you
fine.
answer for me?
No, thank you.
Will you be? Did it make
Is
it
that?
easier?
I think
for
that's
you to write
Owen.
this novel?
Owen Schroyer from
Since you
Infowars.
are a
Thank you
criminal.
very much.
Yeah, I'm really asking. This is a sincere. This is a real question.
Shut up.
A lot of people. I'm sorry. A lot of people want to know if it was easier for you.
Because a lot of these
Since
people,
you have so much
a lot of these people are shills.
knowledge and being a criminal.
Sorry. Let me ask.
Are you
Let me ask you a
afraid of a
question.
Trump
Let's just talk about, a little bit about sort of, I want to go back and look at the transition process.
I was just asking.
Why is this very much
We're done with that session.
right? Thank you.
Thank
How does the process work for you in writing? Like, what has your family participated?
My wife is, has got great story.
How you feel, Rachel?
Our responsibility and our partnership is.
You're a criminal, Comey.
She thinks,
You're a criminal, Comey.
Oh, that is great. Because I do know Owen Schroyer apparently confronted him. I know Owen Schroyer of Infowars confronted that lying dog. He's a lying dog-faced pony soldier. So apparently, this guy, Nick Merckx, who's a Twitch streamer, I assume, who got backlash because he wrote a tweet saying that they should leave the. So apparently, he's a former he's a member of FaZe Clan. That's something. I'll get back to the Laura.
By tweeting my response, and I do want to apologize to Puckett though. I feel like I might have brought a little bit of shit his way, man. I didn't mean to do that, but.
So this is D-Day Core. So Nick Merckx trying to explain his tweet saying that they should leave little children alone. That's the real issue. Fuck these freaks. They don't deserve any explanation. Well said, Jeremy. Well said. I actually want to show off this meme. So here's how it started. Trump should not run in 2024. DeSantis should. This was back on May 3rd, 2021. And now this is how it's going. So this is June 8th, 2023. I was 45 for Trump DeSantis. Now I'm 0 for DeSantis. Using AI images to smear Trump is a hard fuck you. DeSantis must be disavowed. Or DeSantis must disavow. But he should also be disavowed if he went along with it. I mean, DeSantis, he has really fallen far. DeSantis has fallen. He was not a good person. Yeah, there's lots of information because Chris Christie and Mike Pence. I mean, I'm not going to bore the audience. Ari, I mean, I did get a copyright claim on yesterday because I had some of that awful song from the live action Little Mermaid, and I disputed the claim. Hey man, I said that I own the song. Yeah, I'm glad I don't, because that song is terrible. I can't vote for someone who can be bribed in any country in the world with a box. That's probably how they got away from Trump. That's why he flipped on Trump so easily. They probably just gave him a box of donuts. And actually, Roger Stone, Roger Stone oh my God, Laura Loomer is bringing the heat down. But that's the thing. We have so many terrible candidates that we can meme on. Why do you think that Youngkin or Cruz or Abbott aren't getting? I mean, they'd like to. Greg Abbott would love to get involved, but he's actually more loyal to Trump than DeSantis is. Ted Cruz, for all of his sins and all of his past doings, is somehow still loyal to Trump, even after Trump smeared him in 2016. Ted Cruz is still loyal to Trump. And because if Trump would somehow make a joke about, he would go full oh dear God. And he'd also, if Cruz decided to run again, Trump would bring back the lying Ted. And Cruz does not want to go through that again. Trump will end your career. Mike Pence has already learned, he's going to really learn a hard lesson about betraying his boss and his boss's base. DeSantis is also going to. And honestly, I think the only thing that Eric July and Donald Trump can agree, they can agree on May. But I think they can agree on fat shaming. I'm just surprised Eric July and Rekieta apparently likes to do. He's away, Nick Rekieta, with his family on vacation. When he gets back, there's going to be so much fun. Let me actually see. I want to know He also has Ice on 2 coming out. I'm not really into comics, anything, but I do think that's really good what he's. Now I've been just procrastinating with my project. I probably should. I might work on some of that today. Actually, maybe he needs to shape me, give me the George R. Martin, and he needs to do that whole George thing that everyone's told George R. R. Martin to me. Oh, here it is. Here it is. He actually retweeted. So Chris Christie launches presidential camp. Are we gonna be big or small? I want to see. Very poor. Oh, he's so poor. He is tired of being. If he is. Ironic. Oh my God, these are brutal. You think Trump's going to go out? Please, Chris Christie, you have no idea. You are going to get shamed. Rightfully so. Let's see. Kind of stuff about Julian Assange and plot too sad. I really need to be getting into that. The climate. Of course it's. So fine then. We're going to get into the climate stuff because I've waited too long. I think that's pretty important. I've talked about Trump indictment. What else I'll say about that is that you hear them say next week they'll probably wait a couple weeks to indict, and then there'll be a period of silence. Then they'll dig up some other stuff to indictment. And this doesn't mean that Trump has to end his campaign, because I would have heard something about that. Sorry, I'm just got so yesterday here on the eastern seaboard of the U.S. there was there were fires in Canada, which I didn't know about until yesterday. They had apparently been raging since June 6th, and let me see. First, let's play this Reese report by Greg Reese, who's an InfoWars reporter for InfoWars. This is his Twitter if you want to follow him. And so here's go to band.video and share this. It's all over your social media. People who might be watching this now because I don't think YouTube takes accounts that people who are signed out of YouTube and watching. At least I don't think. And So there could, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm pretty dumb when it comes to this stuff, but people who are watching after, take this, share it.
During the biggest fire catastrophe in Canadian history, on June 2nd, there were over 100 forest fires in Quebec, with 10
Now, pay attention to this real closely.
of them out of control. The province's fire prevention agency says it only has the ability to fight 30 fires. This massive outbreak of fires was captured.
Notice how they all seem to come out at the same time?
By longtime geological watchdog YouTube channel, Dutch Sensei.
There's last night.
So, Dutch Sensei is the channel. Perhaps I could reach out. Maybe I could talk to him more about this. I don't know if any of you know about him. You could actually, and want to reach out to him and say, hey, there's this guy, Jared the American, who would like to have you on. Maybe you could do that. I'll see.
Here's today. All of Southeast Quebec just caught on fire, guys. All of it. Insane. Insane. Look at that. The whole thing. All at once.
Michael Janich of the Dutch Sensei channel has been monitoring earthquakes and other geological activity for years,
So he's an expert.
successfully predicting earthquakes and issuing warnings when the USGS won't. Janich has often reported on fires that break out along the edge of the plate craton, or fires that break out around volcanoes.
All the way across central Mexico from over here, following all the way across over to here. All fires, all at once, all yesterday. Not normal. We don't normally see this. So that being said, I want to just show you what's there, and we'll just go zoom in from over here all the way across to here. Let's just zoom in the middle. Well, we could start over on the left side or in the middle. You'll see a bunch of little dots on the ground. As I zoom in, you'll see they're changed from dots to actual volcanoes. These are volcanoes. Volcanoes.
And
these are all volcanoes. Every single one of these, the big ones and the small ones.
And he's captured images of what appears to be directed energy weapons.
That's really interesting. And this looks like, remember back in 2020, there was those massive fires that broke down in California. There's a lot of people who were talking about how this could be some sort of high-tech CIA, because people were saying these were, with the Jewish or Italian space lasers. This wasn't that. And you obviously know about the Star Wars program that Ronald Reagan wanted, the 80s. I'm pretty sure, I've heard the CIA has access to a lot of this crazy tech we don't know about. There's something called Thor's Hammer, I think, which is this crazy space laser. Or I know that there was rumors, if this goes back to Trump, if Trump was able to overcome the fraud, there would have probably been a massive reaction from the crazy left, and Trump was not prepared, was not going to let what happened back in the Summer of Love happen, because we thought it was going to be Summer of Love times 10, combined with the riot that happened in 2016. So they were, allegedly, the Space Force was preparing these weapons to be used in case it got really violent, is what I heard. What's up?
Sparking California wildfires in 2020. But the fires from last week were not along the edge of the craton or near a volcano, as far as we know. The only other explanations would be that it was man-made, and there was no sign of a directed energy.
Remember those videos of the arson in 2020? Let me bring those up because I'll show you. I'm trying to see. Okay.
Weapon.
It's not just a Canadian forest fire problem anymore. I'm going to have to say it, guys. It looks like you got a problem going on up there that might be related to, I don't know. What do you think? You think that these fires might be related to, I don't know. What do you think? Terrorism? Directed energy weapon? War?
A false flag?
For the Russians, Chinese, what? Ourselves? All the above? Whatever. This level? You're going to burn out everybody? You're going to burn out all the natural wildlife and everything? Come on, man. Even if you're an anarchist or something, come on, guys. Look, dude, I don't see you burning down the Federal Reserve. Not that you want to. I'm not telling you to. I didn't say that.
There was evidence of arson in the American West Coast wildfires, and U.S. climate czar John Kerry just called out for his instinct rebellion mob to be more militant.
We have to fight on multiple fronts simultaneously.
Czar arson.
Let me actually get that research report up. No. So it's called sorry. All right, found it. I'm not going to play it right now. Real.
In the American West Coast wildfires, and
What's
U.S.
this one?
climate czar John Kerry just called out for his instinct rebellion mob to be more militant.
We have to fight on multiple fronts simultaneously. This is the biggest organizational effort that I think we have faced, certainly since World War II, but perhaps ever. We got to push more. We got to be more militant, maybe.
Just like California and Australia, these fires will be blamed on cow farts and human civilization. The captured government of Canada is telling the people to...
It's climate false flag. it goes into the whole carbon tax agenda. They're going to tax you on your carbon and everything. It's what Alex Jones has been talking about for years. Don't believe me? Go and listen to clips of him talking about how they're going to be climate lockdown. That's what their next lockdown is. Because they're done with the COVID. Now it's for climate. They've been preparing this. And you could see them in the public schools. They were doctoring the children and getting them ready, saying this is going to be a big disaster. We have to work. It's not about just reuse, reduce, recycle, plant trees. No, it's much darker.
To stay out of the woods. They are ignoring volunteer firemen and asking Trudeau for the military and foreign workers to rebuild. The New World Order needs an excuse to lock us down one more time. And this could be it. Burning people out of their homes is an old tactic used for stealing their land. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese. For watching.
Yeah, you can go to his Substack. He has a
laws
Substack.
Were enacted to compel these corporations.
And if you want to watch
.com.
the rest, so this is all of South Quebec simultaneously are up in flames. Go to Banned Out Video for that. This is actually from 2020. So
This perfect storm. The debate is over around climate change. Just come to the state of California.
Look at that. It's Patrick Bateman.
Observe it with your own eyes. It's not an intellectual debate. It's not even debatable.
The debate is over around climate change.
California's rogue governor says the fires are due to climate change. But anyone with a modicum of awareness knows.
Taking a while to load. I don't know, guys. They trying to shut this down. They're trying to block out my internet.
But anyone with a modicum of awareness knows awareness.
This perfect storm.
But anyone with this is an outrageous awareness knows that this is an outrageous lie. We know exactly what causes the California wildfire. It is the result of two factors: dry seasons and people. Official state records have only been kept since the 1950s, and 2020 has been the most destructive season on record. But this isn't a new phenomenon, and the fires of the past were more destructive than the modern era. Through studies of tree rings and other natural evidence, researchers have documented multiple droughts in California during the past 1,000 years, including one that began in the year 850, which lasted 2.5 centuries. Before European settlers arrived in California, indigenous peoples used controlled burns to manage the dry season and to increase and improve their harvest. It is estimated they would burn 4.4 million acres of forest each year, and that is twice as much as 2020. Studies have shown that 97% of all forest fires are caused by humans. Smoking, campfires, and other accidents have always been a problem. Experts blame the recent wildfires on fire suppression and an overabundance of wood fuel. One of the reasons why the indigenous people burned so much forest was to keep this under control. Aside from human accidents, there is also arson, and we have seen plenty of arson in 2020. It's been sort of the theme.
If this country doesn't give us what we want, then we will burn down this system and replace it.
Several people have been arrested for starting fires along the entire West Coast. Homeowners are catching arsonists on their property. There are reports of people throwing Molotov cocktails out of moving vehicles on the freeway.
Suspicious vehicle 213 northbound 205. It's a dark Subaru with Texas plates throwing Molotov cocktails.
And there are videos of arsonists setting people's homes on fire. We know for certain that at least one of the arrested arsonists is directly involved with the BLM Antifa movement. And the rest certainly seem to fit the bill. Local news is reporting on
The
it.
man has been arrested, accused of starting this fire.
One of two men accused of intentionally.
At least the local news was doing their job. You know, that the mainstream isn't going to do. Because sometimes the local news will do your job. Sometimes you just got to give them the encouragement to do the right thing.
Setting fire to fields along freeways.
But the FBI and the mainstream media are in full denial. A Clackamas County Sheriff's deputy was placed on administrative leave after warning locals about coordinated arson attacks.
What I'm worried about is that there's people stashing stuff, right? Right. It means that they're going to go in preparation. Right. And I don't want to sound like some doomsdayer, right, but it's getting serious.
And the Democrat Party is telling you it is all climate change.
Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us, whether she's telling us with hurricanes on the Gulf Coast, fires in the West, whatever it is, that the climate crisis is real and has an impact.
And telling you that the fires will soon come to your town if you don't vote for climate change.
What we're experiencing right here is coming to a community all across the United States of America unless we get our act together on climate change.
Which is a pretty nasty threat, considering how many cities across America have burned by the hands of radical leftists over the summer. The 2006 film Apocalypto beautifully illustrated how the ancient Mayans' advanced knowledge of astronomy could have been used to frighten the superstitious masses into offering their own to be sacrificed on the altar of false idols, who had the power to blacken out the sun. And there is nothing new under the sun. People today will throw away their children's birthright because of ignorance, faith in false idols, and their blatant lies. For Infowars.com, this is Greg Reese.
7 people.
Majority of the protest has been peaceful.
So this is, look at this. This is from David Knight, who used to be there. He unfortunately was let go of Infowars because of financial problems. Hope to see him back, though. Didn't agree with all of his takes, but I hope to see him back because he seemed like such a good. I know there's beef between him and Alec, but he was a good guy. And we should have been right to listen to him about the vaccine, Trump, and stuff. But that's beyond. Actually, Harrison Smith was actually hosting at this, which is funny because Harrison, I'll have to. Hang on, let me get this. Yeah, just had to share that with Harrison Smith, who hosts the morning show on InfoWars. Which I unfortunately don't get to watch because I'm sleeping usually. Though I do tune in. Who knows, I'll probably tune more if he ends up. I might tune in tomorrow just see if he shows me on.
California wildfires that have killed 24 people in less than a month. Deadly fires, more than 16.
I remember there was a clip of a guy. He was holding his. There's a clip of this guy. It was a security cam footage of him throwing a lighter at a bush, and it just starts catching on fire while this guy runs away. I believe it was an Antifa guy. Antifa provocateur.
1,750 firefighters are battling 29 major wildfires across the state as of Sunday. Deadly fires have burned an astonishing 3.3 million acres in the state in 2020, creating smoking conditions and weather concerns that have resulted in partial power shutoffs for thousands of California's residents in an effort to prevent additional fires. Study out of the journal Called Fire reports that 97% of wildfires in the U.S. that threaten homes are started by humans themselves. So nearly all forest fires, 97% of forest fires are caused by humans themselves. The report draws on analysts of housing and wildfire data and concludes that activities like debris burning, equipment use, and arson are the major ignitions for wildfires. 97%. Of course, don't let that get in the way of your propaganda. As we see Bloomberg say the world is burning and we need to act. Of course, it's climate change's fault. The LA Times, how climate change is fueling record-breaking California wildfires, heat and smog. It's only climate change. That's the only answer you're allowed to have for any sort of weather anomaly or, I don't know, purposefully started fires. It's all climate change, obviously, just like all crime statistics are racism, obviously. It's very convenient to be a leftist in today's world. You have your preordained solutions to your pre-described problems, and anything that happens that's negative, you simply slap one of those pre-made stickers onto it. Anomaly at Legendary Energy on Twitter posts this graph, which we've seen before. And it was from last time California went up in flames. And it's a bar graph showing the dead trees from past years and newly dead trees, essentially pointing out that California got rid of its programs that cleared the forest of this debris that can easily catch fire. And you can see how it just absolutely spikes in 2015 and continues to do so through 2016, 2017, and 2018 as they allow old dead wood to continue to just dry out and clutter the floor of those forests, providing the perfect kindling for all of this fire to get.
Like during during 2021 early months, whenever I was forced to listen to whenever I was in classrooms on Zoom, I usually listened to Harrison. I would just mute the teacher and I would just put Harrison on loudly because I'd rather listen to that and I don't have anything as my teacher, but I just rather listen.
Get out of control. Of course, from
the truth.
Infowars.com, Facebook and FBI wage info war on West Coast wildfire arson, quote, conspiracy theories. So a top Facebook official tweeted Saturday that it would delete all posts alleging leftist organizations started wildfires in Oregon and other Western states after the FBI said arson reports are conspiracy theories. You crazy conspiracy theorists, you will be removed from Facebook. They have decided they know the truth and they don't need to wait for investigation. They don't need to see any evidence. They simply know what the truth is and will punish you for deviating from that orthodoxy, which is a little bit awkward when you have headlines like this from Fox. Authorities arrest 4 in connection to possible arson fires along the West Coast. 2 of the suspects remain unidentified, and authorities dismissed potential political affiliations. It's just a coincidence that pretty much everybody arrested for arson has spent the last 90 out of 100 days in Portland protesting against the police. But remember, Antifa doesn't exist, so how could they be members of that organization? No, they clearly are. You can find that story also on Infowars.com. From Andy No, Portland police arrested a man today suspected of starting a brush fire using a Molotov cocktail. Firefighters extinguished the grass fire before it could spread farther, and it actually has a picture of the Molotov cocktail as well as the booking information. But of course, he was quickly released without bail. So you have these wildfires burning entire states, biggest ones perhaps we've ever seen, over a tenth of Oregon displaced from their homes, and 24 people dead. Then you catch the guy lighting a fire, throwing a Molotov cocktail, and starting a brush fire, and you let him go the next day. This is why I don't really have much particular hope for our situation when our authorities simply refuse to do anything to prevent arson, do anything to prevent rioting, do anything to prevent the violent takeover of America by psychopathic communists. I'm going to go now to this clip. This is a woman in Oregon catching a suspected arsonist in the act of trying to start a wildfire. She holds him at gunpoint and waits for the police to come arrest him. Apparently, there have been patrols throughout Oregon. Now that people are realizing this is happening, you have farmers and people living out in the rural areas patrolling for 8 hours a day, looking for people attempting to start fires, and they're finding them and scaring them away. Of course, the police would do this if we had any sort of competent leadership whatsoever, but we are an occupied nation and we have no such luck. So now let's go to this video, this woman in Oregon catching an arsonist in the act.
Get on the floor! Get on the floor right now!
This is what we.
What are you
As
doing?
law
on my
enforcement,
property?
we need.
Passing through, I didn't know what property.
Did you light anything on fire?
No, ma'am.
What are you doing with those matches on your head?
I smoke.
You smoke? Where are your cigarettes?
You don't want to have a match.
Look at. Is that yoga pant? You can tell this guy is Antifa.
Light anything up on fire?
No.
He's a guy wearing yoga.
Corey Allen.
Name?
Corey Allen.
You're gonna stay right there. I got the cops coming.
Fine.
So you have a guy with his shirt off over his shoulder. He's wearing a hat.
Matches on his hand.
He's laying on the road, and a woman holding a gun behind her back. And you see the guy has a pack of matches in his right hand.
But he doesn't.
Says, "I'm a smoker."
Where's your?
He says, "Okay, where are your cigarettes?" "Oh, well, I don't have cigarettes. I just have the matches. I'm just sulking around."
Yeah, that's totally believable. Those don't even look. I mean, they look like yoga pants.
Your farm with matches. Oh, but I'm not trying to start a fire. No, heavens no. Heaven forbid I ever be suspected of such an act. I'm but an innocent hobo. Who cares about? So this is where we are. This is our existence. Now, the police supposedly were coming, and I'm not sure exactly how this played out, how that particular event played out. But if I was a betting man, I'd put my money on the police showed up, took this guy away, and let him go immediately. I think that's probably exactly what happened.
They probably.
And we're just seeing more and more reports of more and more arsonists being caught in the act, starting these wildfires. And what do the leftists and the media do? Well, Facebook bans you from claiming that this is arson, despite the fact that we've seen the arrest, despite the fact that local news is reporting on this, but mainstream news hasn't picked it up. Therefore, it's not the truth. The truth is whatever Facebook dictates that it is. And the FBI also says, please stop spreading these rumors that this is happening. We are fully under occupation. The American government is no longer even pretending to represent or protect the American people. They're letting us know they're here for the benefit of the criminals and to protect the communist and the arsonist and the insurrectionists that are attempting to destroy our country and destroy our entire world. We're doing nothing to stop it. Your calls on the other side.
And now let's see what this is a pretty long.
Did you light anything on fire?
This is
What are you doing with those matches on your head?
I smoke.
You smoke? Where are your cigarettes?
You don't want to have is matches right now.
Did you light anything up on fire?
No.
What's your name?
Corey Allen.
You're gonna stay right there. I got the cops coming.
That's fine.
God, you look so feminine.
All right, so that is a woman who owns land there in Oregon,
Harrison.
catching a guy holding matches. He's got a shirt like half off. He's wearing all black.
Still Harrison.
He's got matches. She said, "Why do you have the matches in your hand?" And he says, "Oh, I smoke." She said, "Where are your cigarettes?" He's like, "I just have matches right now."
And think about this that
and
I was
Owen.
talking to one of the crew members, Rob, about earlier. Why would he immediately lay down and act guilty if he wasn't doing anything? It seems like he's been trained. Oh, just say you're smoking cigarettes. Oh, just get on the ground. And when he say, "Oh, we're calling police," why wouldn't you be like, whoa, why are you calling police? I'm not doing anything. He knows he's guilty and he knows he's going to get bailed out the next day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Democrat terrorists are burning down the West Coast right now. And then the media is claiming it's forest fires or wildfires or even climate change, a total hoax. And I think it's kind of a big deal. I don't know. I think it's kind of a big deal that we have mass arson happening, criminal mass arson happening, and then a criminal cover-up of it and a criminal conspiracy that the media and the Democrat Party is involved. I think it's a big deal. And so I told Harrison Smith last night, hey, you should come on the War Room and really do an expose of this. And he's got all the documents and all the videos and everything here, folks. But I mean, look, Democrat terrorists, whether they call themselves Antifa or BLM, or it doesn't even matter. It's Democrat media-run, influenced terror groups burning down the West Coast. Kind of a big deal. Not seeing anyone else do an expose on it. So I figured, all right, no one else wants to do it. We'll do it because no one else will. So Harrison Smith is in with me. Now, Harrison, we've had dozens of arrests. We have video footage of people getting caught starting the fires. We have just scientific data that shows that this is no way, there's no way this is from climate change or from wildfire season. Here's one, for example, drought map of the West Coast comparing today to 2015. And as you can see, the one from today on the right here, nowhere near as bad as the one here from 2015. So how come you didn't have the same wildfires in 2015 as you do now? And if it really is climate change, how come it's mostly happening in California, where they have the most stringent climate change activist laws on the books? Something doesn't add up here, Harrison, except that it does when you realize this is Democrat arson.
Yeah, well, I think I can answer the California questions because, well, there's more people of color in California. If there's one thing we know about climate change, it's racist and its effects are racist.
This is what we've been told.
Yeah, and this would be, you asked me to investigate what was behind the forest fires, if there was any truth to the assertion that there was arson. And wouldn't it be convenient? Wouldn't it be so easy to be a leftist and I could just come in here and go, oh, it's climate change. What caused the forest fire? A climate change. And on top of that, Donald Trump.
See, because then you wouldn't have to do any work. You wouldn't have that stack of news in front of you.
Yeah, in the same way that if you asked me to research, black crime rates or jail rates or violence with the police, I could just come back and say racism and have to do no further research whatsoever.
Liberalism really is laziness.
It would be incredibly easy to be a liberal right now. Unfortunately, we're not. So I had to dig in a little bit further. And first, I want to start with the hysterical way that we are being told to not ask this question. Do not even spread this so-called rumor, despite the fact it's being reported by local news outlets and the official apparatuses there as well. But of course, it sort of fits into everything that we see. And, just anything about Trump, anything about racism, anything about these wildfires, you see the same thing. What do you see? You see the FBI, Facebook, mainstream media, the Democrats, everybody's on one side and we're over here on the other, just trying to get this information out. So from Infowars.com. Facebook and FBI wage info war on West Coast wildfire arson, quote, conspiracy theories. And that details the way that Facebook, a top Facebook official, tweeted Saturday it would delete posts alleging leftist organizations started wildfires in Oregon and other Western states after the FBI said arson reports are conspiracy theories. So the FBI labels reports of arson conspiracy theories, and Facebook, of course, goes right along with that because it's convenient to them politically.
And let me just explain how this works real quick before Harrison goes into his expose. Folks, they are all watching InfoWars. So when we break these things that no one else will touch, they immediately go into response mode and say, oh, these are conspiracy theorists, censor them from the internet, even though all the proof is out there, the videos, the arrests, everything. This is what they're doing at the FBI. This is what they're doing in the Democrat Party. This is what they're doing in all the Soros front groups. They listen to InfoWars. They see what we know that they're doing, and then they immediately go in defensive mode on the attack to say, oh, it's just a conspiracy theory, despite all the evidence.
Yeah, and again, this is with everything, right? They're even doing it with the Cuties pedophile movie now, right? If you don't like that, that's because you're a QAnon conspiracy theorist, and we can disregard whatever you say outright. So again, this is, you see just with this story, like you see with almost every story that captures mainstream attention these days, the same points coming up over and over. To that point, motherjones.com, right-wing conspiracists linked Antifa to the wildfire. Then they got a boost from Russian media. So just in case Russia being involved was missing on your bingo card, you can go ahead and stamp that because, yes, apparently Russia is also behind this so-called conspiracy theory. Film Daily, of course, comes out crapping, I should say, on the idea that there could have been arsonists starting the California fires or the West Coast fires. As Trump, they say, rejects science. Is from the New York Times. As Trump rejects science, Biden calls him a climate arsonist. And this was a very clever move by Biden because, of course, if you are just a user of the liminal internet, the surface internet, if you don't know how to get around the censorship and see what's being hidden from you, and you search something like arson and wildfires, every single top result is about Biden calling Trump a climate arsonist. Clever turn of phrase for them to obscure the truth and obviously blame everything on both the climate and Orange Man. Very convenient. Once again, this is just, it's like we should really play bingo or something because it's just the same thing over and over. And then, of course, Facebook just outright removing what they call false claims. Then Antifa arsonists started the Oregon wildfires. This goes all the way, again, just these are the through lines. You have something like Kenosha. If you support him, you're off. They have decided he is guilty. It doesn't matter what the courts or anybody else say. The WHO, if you go against what they say, you're off. It doesn't matter what other doctors or, actual science says. You're off. They just decide what the truth is. They find some authority to say, those are the people we're listening to, and then they remove everybody that contradicts them. And of course, we have from the FBI, this is FBI Portland, reports that extremists are setting wildfires in Oregon are untrue. Help us stop the spread of misinformation by only sharing information from trusted official sources. So the irony is, as we continue through this stack, which is all of the stories of the arsonist being caught and arrested, you'll see that I pretty much only use official sources, or rather sources that are, the local outlet for NBC News or CBS, or from official sources such as the fire stations that are there actually fighting the fires. And then this was the first article I saw about this that actually made me question what.
Mm-hmm. You're going to see a lot more of this as we head into 2024, 2023, end of 2023, more into 2024. We're going to see more. Like, we're halfway through the year at this point. They're going.
What was going on, because it's from BuzzFeed News, and they say when they came to an Oregon town to take pictures of the fires, armed locals thought they were Antifa arsonists. They weren't.
And you can watch.
And so this is a whole article about how these poor innocent people that had spent the last 90 out of 100 days in Portland participating in the Antifa riots were found near the outbreak of a fire in Oregon.
That's all you need to know. If you want the rest of it, it's on Infowars. Total proof West Coast fires are not arson. Heck, I'll even Gotta get some more stuff out. Oh, but I think that's where we're gonna end it today. It's been quite a long show. Got some InfoWars clips on, shared them out because they're pretty vital. Those are really vital. If you want to actually share them, it's madmaxroll.tv for now. Don't know how long until those URLs are going to be banned because Twitter, I'm under Elon. I don't think they've banned it. I'm not too certain. Could be wrong, but you know the deal. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, click the bell for notification. We will see you later. Bye-bye, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.